The best and worst multiplayer maps from every Halo game. 4v4 maps are quite a bit different from big team battle maps, so I'm actually going to be ranking the best and worst 4v4 maps and the best and worst big team battle maps, and keeping them separate. I'll also be throwing in a third fun fact or unpopular opinion or just something else to spice up the video. At the end I will rank the best Halo map of all time and the worst. Keep in mind every Halo player is on some sort of a spectrum ranging from full-on casual, these competitive Halo players are ruining my game, all a bunch of sweaty tryhards, to complete competitive players that think you just need to shut up and get good. I'm somewhere in the middle, leaning a little more on the competitive side, but I enjoy all Halo, doesn't matter if it's Mongoose Sumo to ranked dubs. So I'll be taking both sides into account when I'm ranking these maps. Halo Combat Evolved. We started out strong. There are some really good maps in CE. My pick is sort of a dark horse. It's a really good map that not many people talk about. Chill out. I love this map. The way this map plays out almost feels like Halo room clearing. It gives you enough cover to go to where you need to go, but it's kind of hard to camp. For example, the power position on this map is up where Cloak spawns. Cloak and Snipe both spawn in this room. However, Rockets spawn in the main room, where either team can throw a grenade up there and get it down, and OV spawns on the other side of the map, along with Shotgun. Shotgun doesn't usually change the match too much, but if people are camping up in Cloak Room, that is the perfect position to use a shotgun. There's just something about the flow of this map that I've always loved. This map disperses his power weapons perfectly, and I just love the layout. The worst map in CE. Well, there's quite a few weird maps in the original game, however, I feel a lot of these weird maps are really good for custom modes. The worst map I'm choosing isn't actually that weird, it's just a bad map. That's Derelict. At a glance, this just looks like your basic octagon-shaped map. It's two-story, which isn't too weird for Halo, so what's so bad about it? Well, it's a victim of Halo's spawn system. The only way to get to the second floor is through a very exposed teleport. This means in order to get to the second floor, you have to fight people that have the height advantage through the open. Oh, also, Cloak, Snipe, and Rocket spawn on the second floor. So what about the spawn system I mentioned? Well, in Halo Combat Evolved, you will always spawn on your teammate whether they're in trouble or not. You can see what this map turns into. Once one team has control of the second floor, the other team just spawns on the bottom floor, getting spawn killed over and over again. This is infuriating for the losing team, but also it's really boring for the winning team. Nobody actually wins. Oh, also I forgot to mention Overshield also spawns on the top floor. Terrible distribution of the pickups, and overall an awful map. The funny thing is, this map was so close to being good. In fact, we can see a good version of this map in Halo 2. Aside from fixing Halo 1's broken spawn system, all they did was add not exposed ramps in the back to get to the second floor, and man cannons all around the map, and there you go, now it's good. Best big team battle map. Halo CE has some really good big team battle. I feel like it's incredibly underrated. My favorite big team battle map is probably Danger Canyon, though that's not my pick, it's just my personal favorite. Timberland is also another really good big team battle map. But the actual best, as boring as it is Blood Gulch. This is where it started for many people. In this canyon playing Capture the Flag at a LAN party. Worst big team battle map. I think two stand out above everything else. Death Island is way too damn big, but at least it has some charm and a unique idea. I would rather play on Death Island than Japhyrophobia. This map is also way too damn big and is just a bunch of bridges and banshees and teleports. Yeah, this thing plays terrible, and I don't think anyone has willingly chose this map. I've also never seen it ever come up in rotation. I don't know, it's just a weird experiment that was really bad. Fun fact for Halo Combat Evolved, many people probably said Chiron is the worst map in the game. I vehemently disagree. Chiron is awesome. Is it good for regular Halo games? No, it's absolutely terrible. Do not play a regular 4v4 game here. But what it is really good for is custom game modes. Give everybody a rocket launcher, infinite grenades, and then watch two people walk through a teleport at the same time, panic, and immediately commit suicide. I'll add a controversial opinion here because I have by far the most amount of experience with CE compared to all the Halo games. That controversial opinion is that Hang 'em High is a terrible map. This map boils down to camping with a pistol or throwing grenades so you can launch the sniper to you. To make things even worse, the map is horribly balanced. Blue Base has a massive advantage. It has the higher elevation, more cover, more places to go, and if you spawn in Red Base, you can't do a whole lot. Where are you going to go? You absolutely need to be able to throw grenades to get power weapons launched to you, and if they've already done that, you're just screwed. Halo 2. There's a lot of maps to choose from here, but the actual choice is pretty boring. It's Lockout. Yeah, I mean, what else are you going to choose 4v4 here? It didn't matter if you were casual or competitive, this was the Halo 2 map. As for the worst map, It's Colossus. This map has a terrible layout. It basically turns into both teams run for the sniper and whoever picks up the sniper first wins. You have a massive height advantage and they can't really shoot back at you from their spawn. You have to fight up exposed long ramps or take a lift that's just begging for people to shoot you. Best big team battle map. Halo 2 has quite a few, but I think the choice is pretty obvious. It's Headlong. This map has been remade many times because it is such a good map. It has plenty of buildings around the outside to get CQB engagements and also not have both teams all fighting each other at the exact same time, so you can get some one-on-one. But it also does have some big open space in the middle for vehicles and for each team to create chaos. It also has a ton of elevation built into it. Overall, a fantastic map. Worst big team battle map is District. I don't loathe this map, it just doesn't play well. It's more or less the first sections of Outskirts, but changed around. The end result is that the map feels too big, there's too many places to hide, you run around trying to find people for most of the game. It doesn't create a good flow for Halo's style of gameplay. Extra note, even though I mentioned Lockout is the best map in Halo 2, which I think is correct, my personal favorite map is Turf. And it confused me that it took so long before they finally remade it. Turf is such a good map. Halo 3, to many people, is the best game of the franchise. It's really good. You know what else is really good? These shirts. Into the AM is today's sponsor, and I've been wearing their clothes for almost 2 years now. They've been sponsoring this channel for almost 2 years now. The clothes have really solid designs. They're also very soft and very stretchy. I really couldn't recommend them enough. I wear them pretty much everywhere. They also recently released their new vintage line, which has shirts that are made 100% of cotton. So yeah, super nice clothes. If you want to check them out, go to intotheam.com/dragonshirts to get 10% off site-wide. And this does stack on top of their deals. Huge thanks to Into the AM for sponsoring this video. Now let's go back to the maps. Halo 3. The best map is just as boring as Halo 2. It's Guardian. Yeah, this is the spiritual sequel to Lockout, and again, it was everybody's favorite. As for the worst map, Halo 3 has a ton of really good maps. Almost all of these are, at the very least, playable. Except one. Standoff. I hate this map. Vast majority of your time is going to be standing behind rocks trying to take potshots at people across the entire map with an inaccurate battle rifle that has bullets that shoot incredibly slow. This map might have worked really well in Halo Combat Evolved or even Reach, where people spawn to the weapon that's actually good at range. And yes, it does. When you give people more accurate weapons, it plays fine. We know this because there's a Forge remake of Standoff in Halo 5. Granted, you do have more mobility options, so it makes the map flow a little differently, and in general, it's just a better map in that game. But the Halo 3 BR range feels terrible, and so does this map. To make things even worse, once someone picks up the Spartan laser, the other team has no ability to use vehicles in any way whatsoever. There's no way to counter that. They have a Spartan laser across the entire map. Best big team battle map. Once again, Halo 3 has a bunch of so many good maps to choose from, but I'm going to pick Avalanche. This was a remake of Halo Combat Evolved's Sidewinder, a really good map in Halo Combat Evolved, and arguably an even better map in Halo 3. What's there to say? They tweaked the little they needed to tweak to make this flow well in Halo 3, and they pulled it off. Worst big team battle map. Once again, this is really hard to choose because Halo 3 has a ton of very good maps and very few bad maps. Instinctively, I wanted to say Sandtrap, as I personally really don't like it. It's too big and has too much of an emphasis on vehicles and snipers. But at the same time, that's exactly why people like it. It's not a bad map, it's just not what I want to play, so I can't reasonably put it here. Is it possible to put a map as the worst 4v4 map and the worst big team battle map? Yeah, it is. I'm putting Standoff here again. For whatever reason, this map is in both rotations, and I hate it both times. It's not good anywhere. This map sucks. Extra note about Halo 3's maps, cold storage is really weird. Now, I loved Chill Out in Halo Combat Evolved, and they remade it for Halo 3, but something about it just doesn't play as well in Halo 3. Maybe it's the longer time to kill, maybe it's the weapons you spawn with, maybe it's the new sandbox, I don't know. Something about this map just doesn't work as well in Halo 3. I still like it, but it's nowhere near my favorite in the game. Halo Reach. For me, quite easily the best map in the game is Zealot. This allows me to also mention that Midship is an incredibly good map in both Halo 2 and Halo 3 and would have been the best maps in those games had Lockout and Guardian not existed. So hey, I get to mention it here in Reach. Okay, well, not really. Zealot is definitely different enough to be a unique map that plays slightly different, but still has a very familiar flow. And flow really is the correct word. This just feels like a Halo map. Pick up a DMR or a Needler rifle and have the typical Halo dance that you would usually have, just now there's terrible bloom. Worst map. And this one baffles me because people seem to love it, but I think this map is freaking garbage. That's Sword Base. why do people like this map? It is so vertical and not in a good way. The end result is that someone picks up the shotgun or sword, runs into the lift room, and camps lift room all game. That's just what the game turns into. Camp this one room, people try to get it back. Realistically, there's only one entry point in this room. You're not gonna go up the lift because that's suicide, and the open door is also suicide. This map sucks. It's awful. It blows. Best big team battle map is Ridgeline. This is a remake of Halo CE's Timberland. The rest of Halo Reach's big team battle maps aren't necessarily bad. I just don't have any strong opinions about them one way or another. Whereas Timberland is really good. Ridgeline is changed enough to fit Halo Reach's pacing, and it just flowed really well. You're gonna be hearing me use that word a lot, flow. It's really important to a multiplayer map. But this map gives you good angles to snipe, it gives you up-close confrontations for one-on-ones, it gives you tons of vehicle combat, it has tons of pickups. It's an all-around great big team battle map. Worst BTB map? I don't really care, to be honest. I guess I'll just list Breakpoint here as it's probably my least favorite, but I don't feel strongly about any of these in a negative way. Random tangent, Forge World is awesome. If I had the ability to list Forge World as just the best and worst map, I would, because you could do so much with it. No matter how much you like or dislike Halo Reach's multiplayer, you will still smile when you see a picture of Forge World. It's just so good. Halo 4. I did not like the multiplayer of this game in any way whatsoever, but these maps are actually not bad. I had a hard time coming up with the best and worst ones because they're just kind of serviceable. Except for the 4v4 maps, the best one is pretty obvious. It's Haven. In fact, Haven got remade in Halo 5 and it looked beautiful. But yeah, this just plays like a solid Halo map. It didn't reinvent the wheel and it didn't need to. As for the worst map, I would have to give it to Complex. Most of the time, this map just turns into someone camping on top of the center building with a DMR, and other people camping inside of rooms with a charged bolt shot. Did I mention I hate this game's multiplayer? Well, mostly. I actually felt that Halo 4 did a pretty damn good job when it came to Big Team Battle. The changes that ruined the 4v4 modes actually helped out Big Team Battle in a lot of ways. So yeah, I put a lot of time into Big Team Battle in Halo 4. And I think the best Big Team Battle map is Exile. This has a huge circular structure where people can drive around the entire center portion of the map. You can try to control the center, but there's also bases on the outside of that ring. It was a pretty dynamic map. It didn't matter if you liked vehicles, if you liked one-on-ones, like no matter what it was, you could get the experience you wanted. As for the worst Big Team Battle map, again, I just don't feel strongly about any of these. If I had to list one, it would be Vortex. This one kind of tried the same thing that Exile did, but I feel didn't play out anywhere near as good. People would usually go into that center building, one team would take control, then the other team was stuck out in the rocks on the outside while vehicles drove near them. My fun fact for Halo 4, a lot of these maps worked surprisingly well for SWAT. In fact, Halo 4 just as a whole worked surprisingly well for SWAT. Halo 2 Anniversary. This is different enough from Halo 2, and maps were remade, so I felt like adding this in too. You know, I say it's different enough, but the best map is still Lockout, or in this case, Lockdown. It was a faithful recreation of Lockout, except for they added some environmentals to shoot down onto your opponents, and that was always really fun. The worst map in Halo 2 Anniversary is Zenith. This is a remake of Ascension, and I have a somewhat unpopular opinion that Ascension sucks as a map. If you spawn over by Banshee, you're just in no man's land. The middle of the map is no man's land. It really turns into people camping over in base or snipe tower. Too open, too slow. It was bad in Halo 2, and it's bad in Halo 2 Anniversary. They did try to fix it by adding a force field you can turn on in the middle, but it didn't do much. For my extra little tidbit for Halo 2 Anniversary, that is another unpopular opinion. I also really don't like Sanctuary. People love this map, but it just plays bad for me. Even though there's a ton of cover everywhere, it gives you that feeling that you always have 20 different ways to get shot from and sniper spawn on each side of the map, so you're going to be spending a lot of your time randomly getting sniped. I hate this map. I've always hated this map, and I know my opinion is not common. And that's why it's not the worst map in Halo 2 Anniversary. I hate Ascension more anyway. Halo 5. I think the best map, on launch especially, is pretty obvious. It's Plaza. This map gives you a ton of cover, but not in a way that made it easy to camp. It was a fairly vertical map with lots of good spawns throughout. I believe this map just got remade in Halo Infinite, so it's definitely a fan favorite. As for the worst map, well, this is kind of hard, because I don't actually think Halo 5 has a ton of really egregiously bad maps. In fact, I would think most of Halo 5's launch maps especially are just painfully mediocre. They hyper-fixated on esports during Halo 5's launch. They wanted the game to be competitive, and they did that well. But as a result, some of these maps give you that feeling of always having 20 million different ways to get shot from and never being able to get into a safe spot, so I guess I'll just choose one of those. And that will be the Rig. I don't even hate this map, it's just your experience with this map may be great or may be infuriating. As for Big Team Battle, Halo 5 didn't have it on launch, it wouldn't add it till a bit later. All the Big Team Battle maps were Forge maps, and to be honest, I only remember like one off the top of my head, and then looking them up, I didn't remember any of them, so I'm just not going to rank them. I'm also not rating Warzone maps either, because I hate Warzone. Warzone sucks. A bunch of people did buy rec packs needlessly, which funded a ton of free maps for regular multiplayer mode, so never mind, I love Warzone. I could rank the breakout maps, but I think they're all equally good, and I really liked that game mode, so I'll just say they're all great. And my last note I will say about Halo 5 is bring Halo 5 to Master Chief Collection, please. Halo 5 gets a bit of a bad rap because the campaign is awful. However, multiplayer gets chucked into those bad feelings, and I don't think that's fair. Halo 5's multiplayer is really good, almost as good as the original trilogy, if not as good. However, it's stuck on the Xbox One, which means most people just will never play it. Please add it to MCC so I can play it on my PC. I want to play more Halo 5. And last in line is Halo Infinite. I had a hard time coming up with the best map because I think there are 3 maps that are by far better than all of the others. Those 3 maps are Recharge, Live Fire, and Streets. Out of those 3, I think Streets is my personal favorite. This map is sort of a 3-lane map with clear bases and lots of ways to cross over in the middle. Also, it has the typical thing of the best power-up and spawns in the middle of the map. Or bring back that word flow, it had really good flow. As for the worst map, this is really easy. It's Launch Site. This map was very clearly made for one game mode, yet it's still in playlists for every other game mode. Why? This map is such a weird size. It is way too big for 4v4, but also too small for Big Team Battle. The layout certainly doesn't help. It's just a big horseshoe shape, but with an obvious man cannon on the other side that will get you killed if you try to use it. Most of the time, it just results in people camping on top of Lift Tower. I don't know, it sucks. I'll also give a dishonorable mention to Behemoth. I hate this map. It's mostly just 2 bases and a bunch of wide open space. This plays like ass. As for Big Team Battle, I really hated what Infinite did to Big Team Battle. This isn't really Big Team Battle at all. It's something totally different. I also don't like any of the maps. If I had to choose the best one out of the maps that exist there, I guess I would give it to Fragmentation. Now, Halo Infinite did add in the more traditional Big Team Battle that I wanted at launch. However, I've long since dropped Infinite, and I've not played the Big Team Battle that I wanted, so I have no opinions on those maps. And my final thought on Halo Infinite's maps: Infinite makes me sad. Conclusion. Here's where I list the best Halo map of all time and the worst Halo map of all time. I think if I'm going on a more objectively true conclusion, it would be either Halo 2's Lockout or Halo 3's Guardian. But this is my list, so I'm not doing that. I'm picking my favorite out of all of these, and that one is Chill Out. I love Halo Combat Evolved, and something about this map just plays perfectly in my mind. I really wish this map would come back in more games. I love it. As for the worst Halo map, this is a much easier answer. It's Sword Base. I've talked about why I hate this map. Camping in a lift room isn't fun. The map is needlessly vertical in annoying ways. This map sucks. It's ass. Never bring it back. Let it stay dead. And thank everyone for watching, and thank my YouTube members. If you become a YouTube member, then you get to see my videos as soon as I complete them. That could be 1 week ahead of time or a month ahead of time. Big thanks to people that follow me over on Twitch. I stream once a week at minimum, and I have a fun time just hanging out. And of course, a big thanks to Into the AM for sponsoring this video. Go to intotheam.com/dragonshirts to get 10% off site-wide.